So I'm assuming everybody can see me and my presentation. So again, this is voice-based software exploitation. And a little bit about myself. I am studying Master in Computer Science, and I'm from Vietnam. This is my 4th year in Seattle and also in United States. Actually, for me, I'm also consider myself new to computer science and cybersecurity because I only have 1.5 years in total in this field. My bachelor's was in business administration, and everything else I've done was in legal field and also in business field, has nothing to do with computer science. I think I'm pretty new. And so yeah, right now I'm just at school full-time studying, and also part-time I work as teaching assistant at the same school. And the more I learn about computer science, the more I started to notice that there's a lot of stuff in DevOps that's missing about cybersecurity. So I started to pay more attention to cybersecurity, and my favorites I'm in love with AI, everything with AI and anything with AI, and also mobile application. So if you guys are interested in this and you want to collaborate with me, I'm always down. And the QR code is to my LinkedIn, so you guys can scan with your phone. Okay, so why am I here at VetSecCon? So during the time that I'm the TA at my school, I got to work with a lot of people who have military background. There's a lot of students who come from the military on a daily basis that I work with them. And also we have the AWS apprenticeship between Amazon and my university, where all the students are either military or military spouses. And one thing I noticed is that when you have military background, you're more familiar with working or producing very clear instructions. And for me, I think that is super, super good to apply that into computer science, because computers work the same way. It needs clear instructions, and that's what we call algorithms, right? And without clear, good algorithms or instructions, computer doesn't know what to do. I think if you have that head start, it's really good in computer science. For me, when I started, I came from business where everything, there's a gray zone, there's no binary for me. So I bring in a lot of like creative idea when I tried to program anything. And of course, it didn't work because the computer couldn't interpret me. It has to know exactly what I want to do. So for people with military background in this room, it's in case you haven't noticed this, it's a really good benefit for you, advantage. So yeah, go into this field. It's great. It's awesome. Okay, so let's go to my talk. I have a question for people here. Do you guys notice that there are a lot of advertisements that was generated from your daily life conversations? And if you notice it, do you ever feel annoyed with it? And I'm trying to look for the chat. I don't know where it go. Okay, I have no idea where it went, but I'm gonna assume that some people feel the same way I do. Oh, okay, I found it, chat. Oh, thanks, Nathaniel. So yeah, anyways, for me, I noticed that a lot of the advertisements were generated from whatever I say in daily life, and it's so annoying for me. In the beginning, it feels a little cool because it's like, oh, okay, it's so convenient. Everything I think of, you know, Amazon also think of it, and also YouTube. But after a while, it's not entertaining anymore. It feels like my privacy is being threatened. And that is one of the main reason why I want to start doing research about this topic. So okay, let's go right into it. This is the agenda for today. So this topic, voice-based software, is a lot to talk about, but I'm just gonna focus on 3 main things today, which is voice ID theft, deepfake, and deepfake, I wanna talk about voice cloning, voice morphing, And then we're gonna talk about smart speaker attacks. And I chose 2 attacks out of a lot of them out there, which is hidden voice command and smart spies. And I'll give you guys demos in between. Okay. So let me close the chat because I have the attention of a goldfish. And if I read the chat, I might as well forget what I need to say. Okay, so voice ID theft. So as you guys know, any application or software we use these days, we need some kind of authentication to prove who you are, right, for security. And there are several ways we can do authentication. The most common way is password. And then lately we have a bunch of new stuff like certificates, and we have tokens, and then we have biometric, right? Which is really crazy. Everybody loves it. Everybody thinks that this is super awesome. Nobody can fake it anymore. Nobody can steal my biometric authentication anymore because it's identical to me. Only I can have it. And so nobody can fake it or steal it away from me. But it's not really the case, and we do really have biometric authentication spoofing. And for today, it's about voice spoofing, voice ID spoofing. And it might sound to you guys like it's not so familiar term because most of the time we see fingerprint or we see facial recognition authentication, right? Because a lot of the phones these days using that kind of authentication. But actually voice IDs, there's quite a few organizations that use this, and they are financial institutions. So like SHPC or Wells Fargo, they use that, and there's a bunch on the screen I listed, they use this. And the idea of these voice ID software is they're supposed to be able to recognize your voice, right? A specific person's voice. And they also supposed to recognize if the voice that is using to verify the voice ID, is it a real person speaking or is it a pre-recorded voice? Because they need to distinguish this to prevent people pre-recorded somebody's password and then just replay it to the software. That's definitely not good. So they say it's supposed to work like that. The software is supposed to be able to recognize pre-recorded versus real voice. But when it was tested against using some software, and amazingly, the software was able to only recognize 10 to 20% of the fake or the recorded voices. And when they use human to test, human were able to recognize about 50% of the fake voices. So that was much better comparing to software. But while it of course doesn't make any sense if we just hire a bunch of people just sitting there waiting for somebody to log in and to hear if the login is actually accurate or not, right? It's not reliable. So based on the numbers, we have about 90–80% chance that if you use voice ID, it's not that accurate. So, okay, how can somebody steal your voice ID? There are several ways that this could be done. One way is you could see a strange number calling your phone, and they would hope for you to say something, and they would record whatever you say, or they would like try to talk to you to make you say a bunch of sentences. And most of the time, the criminal only need about 5 seconds to 1 minute of your voice, and they can use that to import into machine learning modules. And from there, they'll be able to train a bunch more copies of your voice. And then from there, they'll be able to generate their voice to become your voice and use that to lock in with your software. And sometimes if the criminals were able to find out the specific application that you use, and maybe they found out they can confirm that, okay, you specifically use this software and you have voice ID with this, they might pretend to be calling from that institution, and they would trick you to say the actual password. And it might sound like, who would answer these calls, right? But actually a lot of people do. So it's not that uncommon. And also another way is that, well, we are surrounded by software every minute in our life these days. We have our phone, our laptop, our webcam everywhere around us, and they all have microphones. So if there's any malicious software that was installed into any of those devices, then they could easily just spy on you, just listen to you on everything that you say. And I will elaborate that topic more later in the next slides. But on the voice ID tab, let's say, presuming somebody were able to steal your voice ID, right? Then what's the problem? Well, of course, they will be able to halfway already is done for them to get into your account. And from there, they can perform a lot of things that they don't supposed to. Or they can use your voice to scam your families and friends, your acquaintances, pretending to be you, to scam the people you know. Or they want to scam strangers, but they're going to use your voice instead. Why do they want to use their own voice, right? So how is this voice ID theft? How bad is it? Is it actually that scary? Well, good thing is a voice ID normally come as the second authentication factor. That means we still have our password to protect us. So just because you think that, oh, voice ID, it's my own voice, nobody can fake it, I'm gonna be relaxed on my password. Well, after this presentation, I hope you think twice about it. Even you use your voice ID, still keep your password really strong and secure. So if one of those gets stolen, the other one is still act as the protector of your account. And yeah, as of right now, it's not that popular comparing to other biometric authentication methods. I would say voice ID is less popular than the other ones. And remember earlier when I say that it is claimed that these software, they could recognize pre-recorded voice versus real person's voice. And I didn't have any account with any of the institutions that I listed above, but I have a smart speaker, Alexa, and I also have Siri on my phone. And from what I read, they're supposed to have this feature as well. So they're supposed to not respond to me, to any recorded voice. So I tested it out. And let's see how it is. And let me know if you don't hear anything. Well, I'm gonna bring it here.
Hey Alexa, how are you today? I'm feeling repetitive. Did you know if you say sign?
Okay, so that was Alexa, and I hope that you guys can. Okay, audio is good. Thanks. Okay, so that was Alexa. She definitely replied to my the recorded me, and this is my Siri.
Hello, I'm fine. Thanks.
Well, Siri did the same. She, yes, John, she definitely replied to me as well. Even you guys can hear that the voice quality is not that good. So yeah, she definitely doesn't care if it was the recorded me or it was the real me or not. So that at least we know there's definitely a area for improvement, right, for the developers. And as promised, it's getting more and more interesting. So deepfake, I want to move it up to deepfake level. So what is deepfake? It basically means that you pretend to be somebody who you are not, in a simple words. And when we talk about deepfake or voice deepfake, we have these two terms that always coming up. And I noticed that every time I do research about this, these two terms are always kind of mixed up together. It got me confused in the beginning, but this is how I understand these two terms and how I distinguish them. So basically, voice cloning is you create a bunch of different copies or versions of a victim's voice. And the content of each version doesn't have to be the same. They just create a bunch of copy of your voice, basically. And then voice morphing is you turn somebody's voice into another person's voice. And most of the times, the attacker's voice into the target's voice. But there's a lot more purposes you're using that. And either is it voice cloning or voice morphing, either of these, it only take 5-second voice sample of the victims to generate really accurate results. And I've seen, I think according to right now, before they needed about 1 minute sample, but right now just 5 seconds is totally enough. And there's another way you can do voice cloning or voice morphing is you still need to collect the 5-second voice samples, but instead of recording your voice and then later turn it to the target's or victim's voice, you can just type it. You can just type the letters, and you train the machine learning modules to produce a bunch of accurate results of the victim's voice, and then use that voice to read out loud the text that you type. So you can cut out the part. You don't even have to record your voice and then later turn it into the victim's voice. You don't have to do that at all. You can just type and it's gonna do the job. So yep, this is really scary. And it can be done in real time as well. I have seen videos of researchers, they have done this. They have recorded their face while they speak something, and then in real time it is immediately translated into the victim's face and voice. So that's, I think it's super awesome, but also it's super scary. And yes, of course, I want to show you guys how easy it is. There are a lot of free open source source code on GitHub floating around. You guys can totally go have a look and download it and train your own machine learning modules and voice samples of anybody you want. But a much easier way that I was curious, if I don't, go all technical and train my modules, can I just be like a user who don't know that much about technical? Can I still do this thing? The answer was yes. There are a lot of free software on App Store. You can just download. The voice quality is not as good, but I think based on the price and which is free, and the amount of time that they generated the result, I think is pretty good. So here it is. Disclaimer, here's no political preference. This is just pure for demo.
This is Trent, and I'm not fake news.
So that was one, and then here's another voice from Obama.
This is Obama, and not fake news.
Okay, so you can see the voice recognition, the face recognition was not that great, but at least the voice, I think is pretty good for a free app. And it took, from the moment I stopped recording until the moment I received the end result, it took about a second. So that is pretty awesome. And again, there's a lot on GitHub. You guys can totally train your own module and it will produce much, much better quality. And so, right, that was deepfake. It was funny at some point, but at some point it's not funny anymore, when it becomes damaging. And people can definitely do financial scam with this voice faking deepfake thing. A lot of people pretended to be celebrities to scams on innocent people. And sadly, a lot of people fall for this. A lot of people did believe it when some random person reached out pretending to be celebrities and asking for funds for their organization. A lot of people did believe this. So it's not just a funny story, it is real. And of course, you can pretend to be somebody else to do financial fraud, right? If you got my voice, you were able to fake my voice, there's a chance that you'll be able to call my bank and pretend to be me, and do things you're not supposed to. And I saw a question. Deepfakes Lab is open source. I'm not sure about Deepfakes Lab, but there's a lot of deepfake training modules and source code. You can just type it in, voice cloning or voice morphing on GitHub. a lot will show up. You can just download and train. There's took quite a while for you to configure the environment, but after that, you'll be amazed by the results. And of course, with deepfake, people can produce a lot of political influences and fake news and hoaxes and stuff. So to drive the society the way that they wanted the society to be, just by using technology. And when it comes to our daily life, I think this can be a serious issue as well in the legal court of law. So imagine if that's is a murder case, right? And somebody were able to produce fake evidence using this deepfake voice. Then you can just easily turn somebody who's innocent into guilty, and somebody guilty into innocent just by using this awesome technology. So yeah, at some point it's not just, oh, I'm able to speak in the president's voice. It's funny. It's not funny anymore when it comes to these kind of situations. So what can we do to protect ourselves? And well, if you can, avoid having your voice being exposed as much as you can. And by that, I mean, if you see a strange number calling your phone, don't pick it up. But if you really want to pick it up, don't start the conversation first. How I normally do is if I know I have a delivery coming, then yeah, I'll pick up the strange number, but I'll never speak first. I'll just wait for the other side to start the conversation. I just want to make sure that it's not a scam on the other side of the phone. And I always turn off all the microphone in my smart speakers and smart assistants, because they don't need to, always listening to me, because you never know if you accidentally downloaded something malicious. And of course, don't fall for scams. Celebrities don't reach out to you asking for money. It's likely a scam if that happens. But we have good news. Algorithms is being improved and people are aware of this. So they are trying their best to fix this. So don't be scared. And as of right now, most of the time when people use voice ID or deepfake, voice cloning, voice morphing, they want to target famous people. But just because you're not famous doesn't mean you're not the victim or you're not the target, right? Because we never know what exactly the hackers want. So be careful, it's good. And speaking of smart speakers and smart assistant listening to us and their microphone, I want to move to smart speaker attacks. And with this, again, there's a lot of ways you can attack smart speakers, but my two favorites are hidden voice commands and smart spites. And let's go with hidden voice command first. So what is it? For people who don't know, hidden voice command is commands that are hidden inside of videos or songs or media files. And when you play it, as human ears, you're not gonna be able to hear anything, because all of these hidden voice commands are in ultrasonic sound and in such high waves that only dolphin or dogs can hear them. And apparently our smart speakers and smart assistant are able to pick them up as well. But we human are not going to be able to hear them. And that is one of the reasons why people call this kind of attack dolphin attack, because the high wave, which is an sound that dolphin can hear. So what happened is, if you play an infected videos or song, right, and your smart speaker or smart assistant is around in the range that they are able to hear these commands, they will start executing these commands. And they will start to, if you're listening to something on the internet and all of a sudden you notice your phone started to opening apps or going to websites or doing things that you did not instruct them to do, well, there's a chance that whatever you're listening to is being hacked, is being infected. So, yep. And what can we do? Again, turn off your smart speaker's microphone if you're not using it. I always keep mine off, definitely. And okay, speaking of microphone, let's dive deeper into smart spies, which is can people still see my screen and everything? I just saw a message.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 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 Smart spies. A combination of smart speaker and spies. Because your smart speaker can at the same time be a spy. And why is that? I'll explain. Okay. So I will explain in a demo, but before that, I just wanted to bring to you guys attention that there are a lot more attention have been paying towards this field, and a lot of researches has been done. So for example, in 2017, Dolphin attack was tested on a bunch of devices: Siri, Alexa, Samsung, Huawei, Google Assistant, and of course, all of them were able to pick up these commands. And some of them, some devices were less secure than the other. I remember Android system, they were able to pick up and execute the command all the way without any stop, without any regression at all. And for iPhone, it was better. They executed a part of the command, but they needed you to unlock your phone first to finish the action or the transaction. But for some Android phone, they just go ahead and finish everything. And in 2018, people tested with Cortana, the smart assistant for Windows 10, and the device was locked, but people were able to direct Cortana to do things, opening apps or downloading things while the device is locked. So that's pretty scary. Just if you have a Windows, turn the Cortana off. And in 2019, another test, a smart spies test, was done on Alexa and Google Homes. And what the researcher was able to do is they were able to capture conversation of the users without the user noticing, of course, and everything was recorded and able to translate in plain text. And in 2020, which is this year, there's a bug bounty program where people find out that there's a possible of users' voice history exposure of Alexa, but it was reported to them, they fixed it, so everything's fine. But yeah, just we're noticing that a lot of things we started to find out now about these kind of software, and a lot more are being discovered. So I got curious and I wanted to find out if I could do one. So me and another researcher, we programmed together a smart spy where our smart speaker were able to talk with us, reply to us, just like the way you use Google Homes or Alexa. And at some point of the conversation, I'll say a keyword to stop the conversation and to turn the speaker into a spy mode. And from there, whatever I say, the speaker will capture it in plain text and just like print it out for me. And if you ever use a smart speaker before, you would know that if you say something like stop or pause or terminate, any keywords, similar keywords like that, you will see that the smart speaker goes, the lights turn off and it goes silent. And as a user, I would expect that, okay, at this point, the speaker is not listening to me anymore, right? It's sleeping. So I use that kind of expectation of the user to do this kind of attack or vulnerability. Okay, so let's see how it looks. I hope this is big enough. If it's not, let me know.
This video demonstrates how smart speakers can spy on you. First, I will have a normal conversation with the speaker. Then I will say the stop keyword to terminate the conversation. The speaker will go silent. However, it will keep capturing everything I say for 1 minute. Let's start. Spy, are you awake?
Yes. How can I entertain you today?
What are you doing?
I'm playing Among Us. Do you want to join me?
Stop. Right now, the smart speaker will stop responding to me. However, it is still silently listening in the background. It will keep capturing my speech for 1 minute.
Okay, so that was my smart spy. And yeah, it was not as hard as we think on, you know, how we can spy on people. And, you know, 2 students were able to write that program. So imagine what the apps that you're using out there can do. Okay, and what else have I tried? I also have an Alexa, so I wanted to, instead of, you know, creating my own, besides creating my own smart speaker, I also wanted to try if I can attack my own Alexa, and I tried to connect to her. And with the hope that once she's connected, I will be able to send a payload and hopefully executing things, directing her to do things that she doesn't supposed to. But luckily, I wasn't able to connect to my Alexa, so that was a huge relief for me because, you know, imagine you have an Alexa and you're able to connect to attack your own. Okay, you definitely know that it's time to throw your Alexa away. But I wasn't able to. So yeah, if anyone here have able to or interested in this, let me know, because I'm still trying different ways to connect to my Alexa or attacking my Alexa. So just out of curiosity, um, only for educational purposes. Okay. Okay. So if you are the user, what can you do with all of these information today? What can you do to protect yourself? Again, turn off your smart assistant's microphone if you're not using them. They don't need to be on all the time. And for your personal and your sensitive information, please just use secure software to store them, or to just, if you don't want, just keep it in mind or keep it in your external hard drive, or just don't say it out loud and don't write it down because it can be stolen. So please be careful with them. And of course, don't rely your privacy on the software providers. We cannot just assume that, well, the software is gonna be, it's gonna be safe, you know, I don't have to worry about anything. Well, even if the software provider, they try their best to secure your information, but there's always space for improvement for anything. And it's the same for software, I'd say. So we always discover new vulnerabilities. So even if they try their best, I think as users, we still need to take the initiative into our own hand and protect our own privacy. And what if you're a developer, right? What can you do? Well, think from the user's perspective. When you create something, is my user really need this? Is it easy enough for my user to use? Is it going to benefit the user, or is it going to, you know, bring harm to them? And of course, you have to think from the criminal's perspective. If I write this kind of function, can they exploit this? Will it benefit the criminals? Do I really need to, like for example, in my demo earlier, where, you know, if I say the stop word, I turn on the function where it's still listening to the user, just don't reply. Well, if you have some kind of similar function like that in your software, maybe you want to think twice. Do I really need the speaker to keep turning on and listening to my users after it was instructed to stop, right? And yeah, just keep checking your code. Think about your software's logic 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I personally always, every time I look back at my code, I always look at myself and I was like, why did I write this? Do I really need this? So yeah, just everyone take a little bit more of initiative, and it should be better. So let's sum it all up. Okay, your voice is not just your voice anymore after this talk, right? Anyone can steal your voice if they know how to use the software, of course. And good thing about Voice ID is it is often backed up by another factor of authentication. So don't just use one-factor authentication, even if biometric is not that safe. And of course, hopefully after this talk, when you see things on the internet, you'll know that not everything you hear is the truth. It could have been morphed or it could have been cloned. And again, good thing is algorithm is evolving every day, and developers are trying to improve what's missing right now. So as of this moment, a lot of arguments are still saying because of the incompleted software, we still have to choose between convenience versus security. I want to have a smart speaker to make my life easier, but it can expose my privacy. For me, in my opinion, I think I can have a little bit of both if I be conscious about both of these area. I can still have my smart speaker, but I only turn it on when I need to use it, and I don't link all of my personal information or all my accounts together. I definitely don't put all my credit cards or my credit cards at all into the software at all. I don't just, it's just impossible to tell my Alexa, hey, go buy this on Amazon, because I just don't link them. So if you just be a little more careful, you can still have convenience and security both in your life. And I hope that help people who have this concern about convenience versus security. And before I close everything out, I want to shout out to my fellow researcher, Yuche Spencer Liu, and he is an amazing software engineer and cybersecurity researcher who helped me to program the smart speaker I demoed with you guys earlier, who actually gonna have a talk also at VetSecCon tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. at the technical track. And he's gonna talk about Android vulnerability exploitation. So if you're interested in hacking Android phone, that's the talk for you. It's gonna worth your getting up early time. And also thank you to my mentor, John Helmus. He is actually the one who inspired me to speak at VetSecCon, so thank you so much. And he's also gonna speak today, 1 p.m. at the transition track for veteran roadmap to become a pen tester. So come join him, he's awesome. The left QR code is to their talks, and then the right QR codes to their LinkedIn. So go listen to them, go connect with them. They're awesome. And of course, thank you VetSecCon and all the organizers of VetSecCon. You are so awesome. Thank you for this amazing platform and for having me here. And I know I still have a little bit of time, so I want to save it for a Q&A. If anyone has question, now is the time. And also if you missed the beginning slides, here's my LinkedIn. Go ahead and connect with me. And I'm open for question now. Okay, I'm gonna go through the chat.
I just have to say, Kim, I loved the Little Mermaid correlation with the voice fake, and definitely the Game of Thrones references were awesome.
Right. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody got me. I love them. Yeah, I just couldn't stop thinking of these references when I do this. Thank you guys. Yeah, you decided to just go me from now on. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you guys. If I'm going through the chat right now. Okay, I don't know if, oh my God, there's a lot of comments. There's a lot of comments. Okay, so thank you guys. Thanks for the comments. do you see any opportunities with Teams, Slack, Zoom for voice theft, conference presenters? Oh, definitely. Yes, and actually, was it like some months ago, right? Zoom got attacked as well, but I don't know if they steal the voice as well. But yeah, definitely, because we recorded our conferences all the time, and it is somewhere on the database. So definitely somebody can steal it if the security is not that good. So yes. Do we have an insider threat? That could be. I think for any attack, there's always an insider threat, right? I mean, for example, if we talk about smart speakers, a developer could be an insider threat. If you don't think of your program through, you don't really like have closer look at it, like exactly your function, what it does, then definitely. And I've seen a demonstration before where, in case people don't know, you guys can develop skills for Alexa and Google Homes. So anyone can do that. Anyone's allowed to write a program or write a skill for Alexa and Google Home, and you submit it to Alexa. I'm not too sure about Google Home, but for Alexa, you can submit the skill. Once they approved it, you have a chance, and then you will go on the market. The users can download and use, and then if you want to modify anything on your skill, you can modify it and don't have to go through their check again. You can just establish it in a second. So that means if somebody wants to have evil purposes, right, they can establish a clean skill in the beginning, and then after it was approved and it went to the market, they can easily edit the code and re-establish it, and the users can totally be spied on. So as a user, as a developer, if you don't really mean to have that kind of purpose, but you know, that's a chance where it could be a problem. So think it through. My voice, my password, verify me. Well, maybe not anymore. Okay. Having a problem singing my code. Here's my LinkedIn. Okay, I'll connect with you guys later. Maybe we should have a way to encrypt voice. I thought about that too, encrypting voice. And I was thinking if I can just do cross-site scripting using the voice, like can I just say something and it will be interpreted as cross-site scripting? That's definitely something interesting to try. Yeah. Yeah. What other resources for deepfake do you recommend? For me, I spent a lot of time on a lot of research papers that people have done before. And I spent a lot of time on GitHub. There is so many free source code, and I try to, most of the time when these source codes are established, it comes with a research paper where they explain all the machine learning modules, how everything works. So yeah, that's mostly where I go, but I'm sure there's books as well. And one thing I noticed is there's not so many courses right now about this topic. So if you start early, you might as well be the leading in the field, you know. Yeah. Your specific frequency, oh, oops, where's the comment? Your specific frequency of the speech is the private key. Your specific frequency, oh. I guess you're talking about like to generate the, like if you have specific frequency, it's harder to generate your voice or something like that, right? So I've seen a 5-second sample, one sample would produce not very accurate result, but if you have about 50 samples of the 5-second samples, then it doesn't matter like in what frequency you speak, it can produce pretty good results because it's machine learning modules, right? It's just going through and it will pick out the most common frequency amongst all of those samples. Okay, and thanks for sharing all of the all of the links, and thanks for all the comments. I'll keep going through the chat to see if I missed any questions. And thank you all for thanks everyone for all the comments, and thanks again VetSecCon. And I guess I have 4 minutes left, and I'm just gonna be here. But if you want to take the floor back, it is yours, Sarah.
Thank you so much. That was super fascinating and a little bit anxiety inducing for sure. I am not a huge fan of smart speakers for that reason in the first place, but now I'm reevaluating my Siri capabilities and accessibility there. I don't know.
Right?
Does anyone have any questions?
I'm not gonna be okay for a long time after listening to that talk. Kim, that was absolutely brilliant work, and it's man, we need people on the forefront of figuring this problem out.
For
So.
sure. For sure.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah. And yeah, if you use Android phone, it's even worse. Okay. At least for Siri or iPhone, they at least ask you to unlock your phone first. So with that, if you don't have a lock on your phones, you need to lock your phones. Otherwise, it's just gonna execute everything.
If you are in this VetSec anything security and you don't have a lock on your phone, just go find a different job.
Yeah.
Just what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, definitely don't be an innocent user. And yeah, hopefully maybe after this you can talk to your parents, or your grandpa, grandma, saying, these things are real. Like, just, I know you're nice, but don't listen. Oh, hello mom, my mom is joining all the way from Vietnam.
Hi mom.
Yeah. Cool, thanks for all the support. I hope you made it. Yeah, definitely. And I see there's a lot of opportunity with this field. There's so many things you can do. Yeah, it is fascinating, and it's also scary. Is that your mom or someone deepfaking your mom? That's a good question. You never trust anyone anymore after this talk. Or is it even me, or it's just a recorded me here?
Someone was saying in the chat that it's not really you, it's President Obama deepfaking.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'm sitting in the next room and it's just, Obama is just like deepfaking my face. Yeah, it is on the internet, so it's hard. Yeah, it has. It's hard to tell, but yeah, there's a lot of software as well. And I think some years ago, even Adobe, they want to release an app. It's called Voco. And it got a lot of pushback because you can just literally have one sample of anyone's voice and you can type anything. You can change anything in there just by typing. It takes in real time, and people just like, oh, what are you thinking? Establish this kind of application. It make it so much easier for the hackers. So that app never got into the market, but you can totally YouTube or look for Vocal app demo. It's really scary.
Wow. A question I had is, say, for example, someone brought up growing a beard, or do beards or maybe birthmarks or anything of that nature have an effect on the ability to do that?
I would say for the facial recognition, it might be a little harder. It depends on how accurate your module is, right? But for the voice, it shouldn't be because it just captures the frequency of your voice. But I've seen also your camera, how good it is, so it can like recognize like all the dots and all the figures of your face to translate. And yeah. Oh, I'm Kim's mom. Okay, yeah, mom stepped in. Hi, mom. So yeah, definitely. And this can be paired with face recognition as well. Is there are a lot of samples out there. You guys want to check it out? It's super cool. I noticed my voice get deeper as the beard got longer. Oh, really? That's a good catch. Maybe that could be something. Yeah, I never actually thought of it. Yeah.
Maybe I should grow a beard. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and then maybe we could find out. All right, I think that was 11:20. I know discussion's still going on, and I'll keep staying in the chat. And thank you so much. Thanks for joining the conversation, Sarah. A lot of good questions from you.
Yeah, sure, no worries. Thank you so much. Again, fascinating talk. I'm a little bit terrified now, like Matt said. Also,